It's Afera Muzu. I'm your host. In today's episode, we will delve into the legal issues surrounding James Quayson's, the Member of Parliament for Assin North. Mr. Quayson has been hit with several charges by the state following an alleged attempt to deceive public officials and misuse his dual citizenship. Let's get into the details. Charge number one against Quayson, which was brought by the Attorney General, states that Mr. Quayson intentionally deceived public officers on 29th July 2019 at the passport office in Accra, stating falsely that he does now hold dual citizenship. This was to facilitate the acquisition of Ghanaian passport. Now, this is a serious allegation as it goes against Section 251B of our Criminal Act of 1960. Moving on to charge number two, Mr. Quayson is again accused of making a false statement about his dual citizenship on 26 July 2019 at the passport office in Accra, this time with the specific intention of procuring a passport. This statement, according to the charges, was known by Mr. Quayson to be untrue at the time of making it. This directly contradicts Section 15(1)B of the Passport and Travel Certificate Act 1967. Charge number three alleges that Mr. Quayson knowingly made a false statutory declaration on 6 October 2020 at Assin Fosu. It states that he declared falsely that he did not owe allegiance to any country other than Ghana, a claim he knew was not accurate. Such actions ran contrary to Section 5 of the Statutory Declaration Act of 1971. Now we reach charge number four. Here, Mr. Quayson is said to have perjured himself on 6 October 2020 at Assin Fosu, making an oath that he did not owe allegiance to any country other than Ghana when he did not have reason to believe this statement was true. This action flies in the face of Section 210, subsection 1 of the Criminal Offence Act of 1960. And finally, charge number 5 states that on 8th October 2020, at the Electoral Commission's office in Accra, Mr. Quayson knowingly used a false declaration of allegiance to Ghana to obtain a public office as a member of parliament. This false statement, according to the charge, was significant for obtaining the office. Such action contravened Section 248 of the Criminal Offences Act of 1960. In summary, there are serious allegations against Mr. Quayson that have come to the forefront. He is accused of deceiving public officers, forging a passport, making false declarations, perjuring, and false declaration for office. In response, Mr. Quayson asserts that at the time, he honestly believed that he did not owe allegiance to any other country. Now let's look at some reactions to this development. Attorney General Godfred Adami has expressed considerable dissatisfaction with comments from Domahini Osadio Ajimanbedu II about Mr. Quayson's ongoing trial. The Domahini, who holds dual role as a traditional leader and High Court judge, recently pleaded to both the President and the Attorney General to halt the trial. He urged them to cease the proceeding against Quayson. His statement was made during the Professor John Evans Atamil's commemorative lecture in Sunyani. But Godfred Dami has highlighted that comments like these, particularly from individuals of public influence, have the potential to interfere with the administration of justice. In a rebuttal, Dami emphatically declared that any remarks that could undermine the administration of justice are not acceptable. It is important to note that Domahini has also voiced disagreement with the ruling of Mr. Quayson's case in the Supreme Court, stating that he would have dissented had he been part of the judicial panel. To this, Attorney General Dami promised to provide a thorough response, emphasizing that such comments undermine administration of justice and are detrimental to our democratic system. Now, where does this leave Mr. Quayson? Well, the embattled MP of Asainof has lodged a motion on notice that the High Court requesting a stay of proceeding pending a panel appeal or pending an appeal. This appeal was filed in the courts on 27th of June 2023. As we continue to monitor the ongoing trial of Quayson, we would want to ask the question whether or not the Attorney General should proceed with this criminal charges against the current MP of Asinfosu. With that, I'll be joined today by Paul Disosu, who is from the NDC, Massachusetts, and also Efa Amayao of MPP, USA, to discuss the matters. Without much ado, Paul is on the line. I would like to invite Paul into the discussion. Paul, welcome to the show. Can you hear me, Paul? I think.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Paul, I cannot hear you. So let me see. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. So I was just going through the charges that were brought against James Quayson, which we'll be discussing today. And the question I'm asking, or the question in my mind, is whether or not the trial should continue. We will soon shortly be joined by Efa Mayo. He had reached out earlier to say he would definitely be on the show. So let's take a quick commercial break. And when we return, we'll continue the conversation. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the show. I'm joined by my good friend, Paul Disosu of the NDC, Massachusetts. Paul, I haven't seen you in a long time. How are things with you and the family?
Well, we are doing great. I mean, everybody is doing great. We are still, doing this thing for country and party. Awesome. The love we have for the country and the love we have for the party. Awesome. That's why we do this thing. So, there's nothing we can complain about. We are doing great.
Perfect. We are also joined by, you were going to finish up.
And I just hope my good brother Efa will be here for me to come because I know he has put in some money or he's trying to put you in his pocket. But Mr. Musu, I want to state on record that you are too big to be in the first pocket. We're supposed to have a show last week, but I believe the pack him to use your hands, your palms with some money. So he's running away from coming to speak about the disgrace. Asimov. And I'm happy today we are finally here to talk about the issue. But once
Oh,
again, I just want you to make sure that you cannot be in the pocket of Eva. That's what I want you to say. Thank you. That's a joke, by the way. That's a joke.
understood. Well, last week I actually joined the people of Palibe, Togo, who usually celebrate their annual convention on the Independence weekend, and I helped them with streaming their program and also emceeing some of them. So I was out of pocket last week. Not in FR's pocket. FR, welcome to the show. FR, can you hear me?
He's
All right.
afraid. He's afraid to face me, so he's hiding.
Well, he's actually in the studio. I don't know why. I cannot hear him. So let's give him a couple of minutes to sort his microphone out so he can join the conversation. But by the way, so Paul, let's jump right into it.
Sure.
Quayson have been taken to court on 5 charges. I just went through the charges so that the viewers can understand what he's facing. So the first charge here, I don't know if you are. I want to be able to read that while as far as he at the same time, but he's not. Okay, perfect. But just quickly go over the charges when he comes. Maybe we can update him.
Yes.
Okay, the first one here says that Mr. Quayson intentionally deceived public officers on the 29th July. I think I hear FR coming in. Let's see. Hello, welcome to the show, my brother FR.
The man who is running away from me is here.
Communication Director of NPP USA. Welcome to the show, sir. FR, you gotta fix your microphone. We cannot hear you, FR. Your microphone, sir. We can't hear you. Your mic is mute.
These are some of the mischief and propaganda he plays always, just to let the time go because he has nothing to say this afternoon. I can tell you on authority that my brother has nothing to say this afternoon, so he's just trying to while away the time. And instead of him just clicking on mute for us to hear him, he's playing mischief with us this afternoon. And this is what my brother does best. I know him.
FR, can you unmute yourself? I can hear him laugh now. Oh, he's out again. Okay, he's obviously his internet is now cooperating with him. Okay, so
with all this money they are chopping in government, if I cannot get a good internet, is that what he's trying to tell me?
Anyway, guys, if you're watching us, please share the link so others can also view the show. We are.
I am on fire this afternoon. I really want to fire Ifa this afternoon. So
I can see that. So we are on Ghana Agenda on YouTube. We are also on Facebook. Same Ghana Agenda Facebook. I'm trying to share the link as we wait for FR as well. So if you're watching us, please do us a favor. Share the link so others who may be interested in viewing can join, and we'll start a discussion shortly. We're just waiting for FR to sort out his connection issues. In the meantime, please bear with us. We are discussing today Quayson, whether that prosecution should continue, and all other surrounding issues. So please share the link while we wait for FR. Should we take about 30 seconds more, and hopefully he might be ready by the time?
Sure.
Paul, okay.
I've got the time to wait for him. I don't want to say anything in his absence.
Yes, exactly.
I want him to be here so that he can listen from me, right from the horse's own mouth.
Awesome. So we'll take 30 seconds. We'll be right back.
Sure.
whatever reason, my thing is frozen too. Okay, reload. We have a fan now. We have myself. Let me just check my audio to see if everything is working perfect. It sounds like it. All right, Afa, thanks for joining. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect. I think your folks have been worrying our system. For whatever reason, I'm buffering so bad. But anyway, okay, good, guys. Welcome to the show. Afa, how are you doing? We've had exchange greetings before you, but tell us how you are doing. We haven't seen you in a long time.
I'm doing great, and I had everything that I'm in your pocket. Yeah, the world is a business world, so if you can get things your way, why not? But I'm the last person who will influence a moderator to do things in my favor, because I know I have all the facts and all the points available to me to dismantle any friend that come my way, not an enemy. And I'm always ready to do that with Paul. Thanks for giving us the opportunity, Paul. It's always a pleasure to be here with you. We are on different sides of the political aisle, but I will punch, you will punch, and at the end of the day, it is all for the good of Ghana. Let's get it going. Let's box on. I'm ready.
Cool.
Okay. I don't know what's happening, but I'm not experiencing the best of connections. So guys, bear with me. If I drop off at any point, I'll return. So you just hang on. Okay, but let's jump into the conversation. The first thing I want us to address is look at the charges brought against Quayson, and the question we have in the back of our mind as we go through each of these charges is whether or not this prosecution should continue, and then we'll react to some of the commentary that we've heard from people like the Domahini, etc., and the subsequent response by the Attorney General himself. So the first charge against Quayson states that Mr. Quayson intentionally deceived public officers on 29th July 2019 at the passport office in Accra, stating falsely that he does not hold dual citizenship. This was to facilitate the acquisition of a Ghanaian passport. Now, this is a serious allegation as it goes against Section 251B of the Criminal Offence Act of 1960. Let me ask you, Paul. Paul, this is significant, right? Because I don't know the timeline for when he actually submitted his application to renounce his citizenship with Canada. But this allegation is that he, when he went to obtain his Ghanaian passport in July 2019, stated that he doesn't have an allegiance to any other country other than Ghana. Shouldn't he be prosecuted for that?
Well, Mr. Musu, thank you very much for getting us on this show this afternoon. You see, running to court does not mean that you have a case.
Mm-hmm.
What it means is that the facts and document and evidence will be shown. It is the case of the NDC that Jachi Quayson, honorable, elected, duly elected for the second time under the Kung government, is not or has not violated any of our constitutional requirements. Mr. Jachi Quayson, okay, as we speak, okay, renounced his citizenship, okay, in 2019.
Right.
And in renouncing a citizenship of a country, example, Canada, okay, as soon as you turn in your passport, as soon as you tell them that you are no more interested to hold their passport, it is duly recognized as you denounce your citizenship. In 2019, when Mr. Jachi Quayson in November denounced his citizenship, it takes process normally takes around 3 to 6 months for this process for them to get you the certificate. Unfortunately, we all know what happened 2019 December. That is where the COVID started in China, spread over the country. As 2020 January, February, a lot of countries were on lockdown for over 6 months to over 12 months.
Okay.
Which Ghana was included, Canada was included, the USA was included. Okay. So due to that, my good brother Ifa and his party always make a case that the COVID brought a lot of issue to them, logistic things have gone up. They've made a lot of issues about the COVID, striking in 2020. But they are refusing to understand that when COVID struck in 2020, because of a lot of offices closed down, because of a lot of companies closed down, because of a lot of government institutions closed down, Mr. Jachi Quayson's denunciation certificate delayed. But Mr. Muzu, let's also put it on record that at the time that nomination was open, it is for people to file to hold a position as an MP. Issues were raised. In fact, the two issues that a member of the NDCs raised the issue around that time. But as 2020 October, the man has denounced his citizenship. So the national executive of the party duly recognized that he no more hold allegiance to the Canada government or to the country Canada. So they allowed him to sail through. Then my good brother, a first party, took it up. They went to the Electoral Commission. They went making a lot of noise. The Electoral Commission sat on the issue. The issue was transferred from Cape Coast to the Central Region to Greater Accra. They sat on the issue and they said, okay, once the person has denounced his citizenship and has returned the passport, they think he's duly qualified. Also, let's also put it on record that as November, okay, before we went to election, as at the end of November, the certificate of immunization has been received by the Jachi Quayson. Before we went to vote on 7th December 2020, he was having his immunization certificate with him. You see, the disappointment and the worry of these our friends, the MPP, is that they are comparing Mr. Jachi Quayson's case to the Sakandi case. And these are two different, distinct cases. In the case of the Sakandi, okay, at the time of going to be elected, at the time of going to election, he was still holding 3 different passports. A passport of the United Kingdom, Burkina Faso, and Ghana passport. He never renounced any of them as at December 7th when we went to election. In any case, PNDC law, is it 294? You are the, help me with it. States that you become at the time of swearing in. That is where you become, or you don't have to hold allegiance at the time of swearing in. Mr. Jachi Quayson was sworn in January 7th, 2021. At the time he was sworn in, he has denounced and he has his certificate as well. I know my good brother Ifa will try to make a case comparing the Abu Sakande issue as compared to Jachi Quayson's issue. And there are two different distinct issues. I am not a legal person. I am a technical person. But even it makes sense to me. Because with Abu Sakande, even when he was sworn in on 7th January and he went to Parliament, he was still in Parliament. He was still holding allegiance to UK, Burkina Faso, and Ghana. In Jachi Quayson's case, it was not the same. He has renounced or denounced the Canada citizenship and he's only a Ghana passport. So for instance, the NPP to say that the case is the same, they keep on throwing dust into the eyes of the good people of Ghana, which I believe my brother Ifa will be doing this afternoon. In fact, he is not going to throw dust, he's going to throw construction stones into people's eyes this afternoon. Make comparison with the Abu Sakande's case as against Judge Quayson case.
All right.
Mr. Abu, you and I know that the Supreme Court has erred, and we have fine brain Supreme Court justices who have retired, who disagree with the judgment of the Supreme Court.
Okay.
For me, look, the Abu Sakande case can never be compared to the Jackie Quayson case.
But Paul,
yes,
back to the question I was really trying to get you to answer is that, you know, the accusation is when he went to the passport office to obtain his passport, he said he has no other citizenship in July 2019. When exactly did he actually apply for the citizenship to be renewed? His citizenship to be renewed?
It's in November 2019.
November 2019. So before, which is in July, when he went into the passport office, he knew he still had his Canadian citizenship because at that time he did not even apply. So don't you think that the state has a case with regards to the passport issue?
Wow. The state has stated case. It depends upon the state to prove it case at first by bringing all relevant documents to prove that what they are saying is true. Until then, it is something that we all have to, deliberate upon and then discuss. I am saying to you that the Judge Quayson's case, the Attorney General is just trying to persecute. That's all he's doing. They try to prevent the guy from holding office. The Supreme Court supported the Attorney General to say that based on the Supreme Court actually, compare citizenship and immunization to be the same thing, which we're talking about on this show. You understand? Which,
right.
I think, and you also believe that they err. But hey, the Supreme Court has spoken. So they asked the guy that he cannot be a member of parliament, he cannot hold himself as a member of parliament. All his information should be expunged from records of parliament, which happened.
Okay. Right.
The man went to re-election. The good people of Asim North have re-elected a guy.
Right.
It's just common sense for the Attorney General to see that we have to move on as a country. Let's all call Nolly Posukwa on this case and let's move on. And let's have peace. They have a lot of work to do. If the Attorney General wants to, prosecute criminal cases, there are a lot of criminal cases which I will outline to him that he should go after. We have the PDS scandal, whereby almost $2.5 million as we speak cannot be accounted for. That's a criminal case he has to go after. We have the Ejapa deal, which the president was deeply involved. That's something he has to go after.
Yeah, but
we have the Ameri deal.
Paul, you gotta realize that it's only in the Attorney General who has the constitutional discretion to determine what cases he even go after. So,
exactly. Mr. Busu, we're in this country when Aisha Wang, the Galamsey Queen, was arrested. What happened? They filed Nolly Posukwa because they said they were not interested in the case.
Right.
Whereby Aisha Wang has destroyed a lot of water bodies, destroyed our forest. Did not see a sense in it. We're in this country where Brother Efa's party vigilante group, the Invisible Forces, went to chase a judge sitting on a case out. What did we hear? They found Nolly Posukwa. I can set a lot of examples. So for me, we are saying that this is persecution. Okay? The Attorney General should be a Minister of Justice and he should be Attorney General. He's not a Minister of Justice just going after the opposition people. There are a lot of criminal cases. If you want to persecute, you should go after those cases. Judge Quayson's case has been settled. He's gone for re-election. He won majority and even won over 5,000 votes, from 3,000 to 5,000 votes.
Right.
If this NPP government, led by the King Call president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is minded and have the country at heart, they should just find Nolly Posukwa and let's move on.
Okay.
Because you see, they are bent to take that seat away from us. And the good Lord is on our side. The judges at the court we have to run away from any fear and then look at the issue critically and put common sense on the issues.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Afa, let's come to you. Afa, on that very first charge, um, I find it hard to say the prosecution should stop based on the timings involved. If truly he went to Canada and told Canada that he no longer wanted to be citizen in November, however, July, same year, he actually went to the passport office and already says that he has no other citizenship except Ghanaian, then, I mean, unrelated to even the election, it's lying to a public officer. What do you say?
Yeah, thank you very much, Amuzu, and thanks for the opportunity. Let me make a quick response to some of the justifications from my good friend.
My question
You see, NDC has consistently rubbished the effect of COVID-19, but when it suits them, now COVID-19 should help them in this case. It's okay. You see, at the appropriate time, right?
Mm-hmm.
The gods will catch the witches, and they will confess all their sins, and they will confess everything to us, and we will forgive them. Okay. The NDC is telling us that now the EC is credible, and that the EC that they vilified so much cleared him. So, this is an EC. It's all good. This is all enrich our discussion and enrich us. Now, and then we went all the way to the
EC is credible. I've never said anything
about I am saying
credible.
I am saying
you are saying it.
You are saying it. Said, the EC is credible. So let's rely on what the EC said to buttress this case. That's fine. And then we went to the Supreme Court. Now, you see, when we are judging, when we have a problem, that is where we go and settle matters. Okay. So that is where everything is going to go. Now, you see, I like the way you put it. You see, and I have a problem with that the Attorney General is the legal advisor. The Attorney General, unfortunately, determines what is a criminal case. So you can cry about criminal cases all you can. If in the light of the Attorney General, if the evidence available to him, he doesn't see it, or he's gathering more evidence, or he hasn't taken it to court, we have a problem with some cases that have not been taken to court. Me personally sitting here, have a problem with Odame or the former one and even Odame. Some cases that, because we made so much allegations, but hey, maybe the evidence have not been gathered enough, or in the light of whatever they have, it cannot be taken to court. Now, I like the way so far the argument seems to be that the Attorney General has no case. This is good. It is always the side of the defense, right? That, when the case is made against you, then, they go and say, because of this and that, you have a case to answer. And you go to court and you rubbish it, and then end of discussion. Now, here we are. This is proceeding from what happened, like we just said, based on the determination of citizens and allegiance and all that. And documents were signed, pronounced, declarations were made. And all these things that you make, so when you apply for something and you make all these declarations, they have legal effect. That at any point in time, I mean, when we were all doing these things, when we're doing when we're applying for paper here, the residence, the permanent residence, the citizenship, when you are signing the final signature that you put on, that all the information that because most of them are not going to be verified immediately. And there are people whose citizens have been withdrawn, whose destiny have been taken away, and stuff like that. Because the information you provided, later on, it was realized this, you challenge it in court, or they take you to court, they prosecute you, and all that kind of stuff. These are basic things that goes on. Okay? And it's as simple as that. Crime is a crime. Unless a former president who has 3 years within which the person can be punished, any other person's crime don't expire under our constitution. You signed this thing to obtain a passport. You signed to declare that you have renounced your citizenship. And you are being taken court to come and prove that, these are allegations against you. Come and answer. If somebody is taken to court, it doesn't mean the person is guilty. But in the eyes and in the mind of the person taken, the person thinks it's got the case. In which cases, the Attorney General, that you have criminal charges to answer. If we believe that he doesn't have any criminal charges to answer, let us go there and rubbish it. There are so many ways to deal with all these issues. But for me, we cannot rubbish these things. We cannot say, you see, when you are saying PDF, say add to it. Don't say, don't do this, but do this one. You see, you cannot instruct the Attorney General. It doesn't work like that. And we've been there before. Political cases, the politicians always complain. When NDC was in power, MPP was complaining to Betty Mould that it is persecution and not prosecution. The same you are using these words. It's political. We take it. But let's go to the court and battle the legal issues. The legal issues is that he signed some papers and he was emphatic on what he said, that he was true to what he was saying, and it was later on found to be false. Go there and prove that no, it was true, and then we take it out from there. But the fact that he's already been found guilty, and then there has to be a re-election, there's obviously a case against him to answer. So for me, it doesn't matter whether he wins or he doesn't win. He becomes the president, and then we learn from that. So let the law work. Let them play, and then we take it out from there.
All right, thank you so much. You didn't answer my question.
Which is sorry. Yeah, if you can answer, I'll be brief.
Well, so I'm gonna just kind of bunch them together. I want us to look at the second charge. All right. So the first one is that he went to the passport office in July 26th July of 2019 and told the passport officers or the government officials there that he, Mr. Quayson, do not have any other, or he holds no other citizenship, which contravenes Section 251B of the Criminal Offence Act of 1960. The second one, which I want you to combine the two in this particular case, but before you even come in, I want to take the second one too. So if I hold on to this, but I want to go to Paul, and Paul, please address the specific charge for me and give me your thoughts on it, because we are trying to determine whether we should continue with the prosecution or not. But in light of the charges, look at what he has done and tell me in your fair commentary whether or not we should continue or not, right? And I'm saying in charge 2, Quayson is again accused of making a false statement about his dual citizenship on 26 July of 2019 at the passport office in Accra, this time with the specific intention of procuring a passport. This statement, according to the charges, was known by Mr. Quayson to be untrue at the time of making it. And this is in direct contravention of Section 15(1)(b) of the Passport and Travel Certification Act of 1967. Should he now be prosecuted for these things?
Mr. Muzo, I've stated earlier on when I made my submission that, look, the Attorney General taking Mr. Quayson to court is the burden lies on the Attorney General to prove his case at court. The Judge Quayson and his lawyers are saying that this is not the case. So he has to go to court and make the proof to us. But for me, you ask a question, should this trial continue or not? And I said it's a waste of everybody's precious time. For us to have unity, for us to have a country that we all love, for the government to focus on the broken and the mess economy they've created, try Nolly Prosecua and allow Mr. Quayson to have peace and lead the people of Asim North, because they are part of Ghana. That is why honorable chiefs like the Doma chief, the Queen Mother from Asim North, Otukwe, Aikwe, Otu, and other senior seasoned, fine brain Ghanaians have spoken and asked that the trial should be stopped and let's focus and let's move on.
But Paul,
I
what
know
signal would that send to? Are you saying anybody can come and violate our travel rules or our laws,
Mr.
and
Muzu,
it should be
I
forgiven?
am not saying that. What I am saying is that Attorney General who is alleging. He that at least he who allege must prove.
Correct.
So he has to go to court and prove. For
Okay.
now, you and I and Brother Ifa cannot sit here and be saying that these are the charges and it is true, it's a fact. You don't know what the Judge Kwesi and his team have on chest to defend, to debunk all these charges.
Right.
We are waiting. Let the trial start. Let them put the charges that they've pressed against him. I hope Lawyer Chachuchikata will be able to defend all those 5 charges against him. And then when those defense, the defense makes the submission, then we can be in a better position for you to ask him this question to say that whether we have violated. For now, the Judge Kwesi is saying that he has not violated any laws. He's not done anything wrong. He thinks it's fair. He thinks he has done the right thing.
Right.
So the Attorney General is saying that no, I have this evidence. So go to court and prove your evidence. That's all we are saying.
Okay, so he's in court. Is your position that the case should continue?
I've said that it's a waste of time. Look,
Why is it?
what have happened? Looking at the by-election, looking at the things that went on, we just went to there to waste the mini resources we have. All those money that they wasted in Asimov. And if I hear you wasted over millions of Ghana cedi that they wasted, as they could have used those money to build the road in Asimov. They could have used that money to build some schools for people who are lying on the bare floor with their stomach, whereby a first vice president who is part of this corrupt government is promising 1 laptop to a child. They could have used those money for those laptops. I am saying that this strike should stop. It is needless. Let's bring everybody together. Let's move on. You've persecuted a person too much. It's not a prosecution, it's persecution because they want to take the seat at all costs. And I am saying this afternoon that, if the Attorney General wants to persecute or have issues to criminal cases that he wants to take to court, there are a lot of them. The PDS deal, the Mary deal, the Japa deal, the PPA deal, all those cases are there for him. You should persecute those cases and let's have our peace. The people of Asimnof have spoken once again, and they've spoken very loudly. And now it was a difference of 5,726 votes. What again do they want from this man? Let's stop this persecution. Let's move on. They should allow the man to serve his people. And I am saying on authority that he, the Attorney General, he should come to court and prove his case. Thank you.
Okay, so I think I'm a little confused on your position, but I'll take it to Afa, and hopefully Afa can help you understand. Afa, what I'm understanding.
My position is that it's waste of our time for what they are doing. And we are saying that the Attorney General, if he's able to pass, he was able to file nolli prosequi in the Aisha 1 case, in the Vigilante case, in many cases, he can equally do this. This is what we are asking him to do. Let's move on as a country. Let's bring peace. Let's bring, unity. Let the Attorney General help the Minister of Finance, and let him help the King Kong president who has lost touch with the people, who has messed up the economy. He should use the brains he has to help them to fix the economy and stop persecuting Judge Kwesi. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So a few comments here. Somebody, I believe the name is Adom. He says this is about to be good. He's watching us. Thank you for watching. And Mr. Moses Adomowin, please share the link so others can also enjoy it. I have my good friend, former classmate Pascal Lumo is watching this. He also came back at some point to say we are getting some feed from some bad feedback or some noise behind the scenes. So I am muting myself when I'm not speaking to ensure that nothing is coming from me through to the viewers. If you can also do the same, that would be great. Tommy Samson is saying, do that man in long sleeves. Afa, I think he's addressing you here. Believe the system is corrupt or not. So Afa, what do you think? Do you think the system is corrupt? Hold that. Let me read the rest of the messages and then you can answer that. So this is the one about the feed. There's a bad feedback coming in or something like that. Then just is he Aram Yayam Wura says, justice for Honorable Quayson. There is no issue that Ghanaians are interested in on, like those who beat George at the court. They should forget of this one. Okay, in other words, he's saying we should go to pursue the other issues, like the people who invaded the Kumasi court and abused the judge. And Julie Belinda Aubry is saying, good evening to you all. Now our children with dual citizenship can hold position in Ghana. This law must be changed. All right, Julie, that's a good one. And I think another one from Julie says, criminals are walking free in the country. That's what I believe she meant. Okay, so Afam, do you believe that, I think the question we got from Tommy
That the
Sampson, do you believe
that the system is corrupt?
corrupt or not? But essentially, I believe Paul is saying, guys, just file non-imposed so we can stop wasting the resources, the small resources we have. Second, he's saying, if the Attorney General has a case, you should go to court and prove it. So, which I kind of find confusing.
Exactly. They're
See that
confused. They're always full of contradictions.
So it's either we do a nolly prosecure or we move forward. But I want to kind of go back to the signal this will send if we were to say nolly prosecure, right? What does that mean? What kind of, I mean, it doesn't mean the case is over. When you find nolly prosecure, you can go back at any time and revive the case. So it doesn't mean it's over. So a nolly prosecure will not be presidential, right?
Filing only possible in the case of the Aisha one, in the case of the vigilante, in the case of people going to the court to beat the judge. In all these cases, when they find the only possible, who spoke about it? You see, these MPP people, and they are hypocrites. They are hypocrites to the first class. What is more criminal than this issue? What is more criminal of Aisha one destroying a water body than the issue they are taking to court? Filing Lolly Posukwa is the right thing for this Attorney General to do. I am saying, Mr. Muzu, there's the money that he's spending going to court, sitting in V8 with military men protecting him, that the state is paying for. All those money can be used to buy textbook for people in the village. They should stop wasting the mega resources we have and focus on building the economy that is in mess, that has seen itself in the ICU, which IFA is part of. They should stop this persecution and rather concentrate on building an economy that Ghanaians will be relieved. As we speak, $1 is almost 11. $1 is to 11 Ghana cedi. Those are the things they should be looking at. They should find a ways and means whereby they will bring the dollar down. Because when they were in opposition, they said, if your fundamentals are weak, the dollar will expose you. At that time, the dollar was 1 is to 4.2. As we speak, dollar is 1 to 11 Ghana cedi. These are the things that we should talk about. The deliberate inflation. What is inflation in Ghana now? Inflation is the highest record in the history of Ghana. Those are the things they should be wasting their time on. They should stop wasting our ears. They should stop wasting our time on this Jati Quayson case, which has been solely determined by the people of Asim North. They've massively voted for him that he should represent them. They should respect the people of Asim North and allow peace to prevail.
All right. That's your opinion. And I'm sure if I would disagree. But if I know, we can see, more so. Yeah, and then you're giving us some feedback as well. So I put you on mute. But if you emerge from your technical issues, we can continue your part of the discussions. But Paul, yeah, so I understand that you think this is just a waste of money, waste of taxpayers' resources. There are bigger issues. You think this is political persecution rather than prosecution, so somehow, the people hold the power. The power that the Attorney General is exercising belongs to the people of Asin. And in this particular case, the people of Asin had shown where they would like to, or how they want this
they want to represent them, who want
Exactly.
to represent them in parliament, they've spoken loudly. And this time, the vote difference was almost 5,700 something vote difference. And so
So,
now
in
the
other
people
words,
that whatever they do, the man is going to be the number one gentleman of Asimov. And don't
Right.
forget, the reason why we are also asking for the knowledge prosecutor should be filed is that a president of the country, the number one gentleman of the country, stood on a platform and even gave a judgment in the case, saying
Right.
that Jachi Quayson will be going to jail. He has already taken sides. What does the president know that we don't know? And that's why we are saying that for us not to have any negative thought and negative mind that the president and the attorney general, they know what they are doing, they got the judges, they should file another prosecutor and let's end this case to bring peace to everybody so that we can all know that Ghana is going to be, need development. The sort of development we need is not this, little, fight that they are fighting. They should spend the money and the resources on fixing the economic mess they've crunched Ghana into.
All right. Let me take the next charge here, and let's see what you think about that. The next one here says, which is charge number 3. It says Mr. Quayson knowingly made a false statutory declaration on 6 October 2020 at Asin Fosu. It states that he declared falsehood that he did not owe allegiance to any country other than Ghana, a claim he knew was not accurate. Such action is contrary to Section 5 of the Statutory Declarations Act 1971. So basically, okay, Far is back now.
But all this while Paul was talking and what I was on, I don't know what happened to your listen. I was on. I could see myself in the studio and I wasn't given the chance.
We can see you anyway. So basically, the question I was asking you before is somehow Paul.
I heard everything.
Okay.
Yeah. So you see, one, they are contradicting themselves. File or we go to court, we're going to prove our case and all that kind of stuff. You see, what they are doing is a very dangerous thing. Okay, election is elections. Do you know how many senators or House of Representative people that have been jailed? I think one was in Chicago here. Jesse Jackson was jailed over something. He was elected. For heaven's sake, he was representing his people. So you are telling us that once you are elected, all your crimes are forgiven. That is a dangerous trend to do. You see, and you are also talking as you see, in one breath, you say the man is innocent and that they have a case to prove in court. Simple.
Now, do you believe he's innocent?
I don't think so.
Why? What time did you think he has committed?
You had a dual citizen. You were applying for a Ghanaian passport, and you said no. That is a crime right there. Okay, when you are declaring your destiny,
whose law would you base on to determine whether he has a dual citizenship or not?
Which one?
Would it be a Ghanaian law? Because if he's a citizen of Ghana, would you be using Ghanaian law to determine that or Canadian law?
No. We cannot prosecute him under Canadian law. We are prosecuting under Ghanaian law. Right? And all the charges, none of them quoted foreign laws.
Okay, so the question I'm asking you is this. You ask him whether he has any other citizenship other than Ghana. He said no.
Yeah.
So what is the basis of you concluding that he has another citizenship?
Dual citizen. Okay, he has another citizen somewhere.
How, based on what?
Based on the fact that he renounced it before he took up other positions. These are the evidence.
So in other words, citizenship is based on law, right?
Exactly.
So if I want to determine whether you're an American citizen, it will be based on American law. Is that correct?
No.
Okay, you can answer. You see, you can answer.
Okay, no, listen.
You see, you can answer.
Okay, no. Listen. Let us not make this complicated. It is not.
No.
No, hold on.
Question.
No, hold on. Let us
You can hold an American passport and at the same time hold Ghana passport. You know that for a fact.
And who says no?
But I'm saying that for a fact, we gotta.
If you see, listen, if you are applying for something and you get it, and they ask you, are you, which nationality are you? What are you going to say? You are another. You are from another.
Okay, so the man said no, he's only Ghanaian national, right?
Okay.
Okay, you are saying no, he's not a Ghanaian national. I'm saying based on which law?
But does the fact support that case? What did he renounce? Did he renounce Ghanaian citizenship before he took up this position?
You don't have to.
No, okay, but that is not what the Supreme Court said.
Well, so the Supreme Court's ruling is in review, right?
But for now, okay, so right now, if there is a ruling until it is quashed, that is what we have.
But even that ruling,
if it is not been, if you are in appeal, if you are appealing against a ruling, you don't hold whatever you've been ruled against.
You don't hold the future outcome.
Exactly. You get a point.
But we've discussed that ruling. We have our own sort of agreements and disagreements with that ruling.
Yes, perfect. Yeah.
Because we think the Constitution was misconstrued in that ruling, because the Article 94 subsection 2B, right, which we are actually concentrating, or we are using as the basis of that ruling, we are saying that article was enacted in 1992. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. In 1992, do we have dual citizenship?
No, it was later.
It was later in 96 that we amended the Constitution to add dual citizenship in Article 8, right? So why would we have an article that says allegiance is equal to citizenship when we didn't have dual citizenship then?
But that is what the interpretation the Supreme Court has given you. So, and that finalizes any argument we're going to have.
Well, so Supreme Court made a mistake.
Because of this argument,
review.
Yeah, but because of this argument, we go there. And when we go there, you say, hey, lawyer Amuzu says, no, this was in 92. Lawyer Paul said,
no, I'm not a lawyer.
Hold on. Lawyer Paul said this was in 96. So they don't mind. Then the Supreme Court said, okay, so we're going to go with this. End of discussion.
Okay, but if you bring something interesting that I would pursue further, and we can probably do it now, is that so we went to the Supreme Court for what? For clarification, right?
Interpretation, yes, allegiance and citizenship.
Yeah, because of course there is different understandings from both parties. The government has one understanding, Mr. Quayson has another understanding, right?
Yes.
Okay. The Supreme Court wouldn't otherwise have actually dealt with this case on the civil case, because any dealing of or any adjudication of election petition is reserved to the High Court. Is that correct? So the only reason Supreme Court actually took this case was to do interpretation of the Constitution.
Yes.
Okay, so we zero in on that. So the Supreme Court went in to interpret the law because the law is not clear.
Yes.
If the law is not clear, you are likely to apply it in a way that is different from the way I would apply it.
Yes.
That's why the Supreme Court needs to set the record straight, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So how can somebody be charged with perjury based on that? To say,
So if the law is not clear to you, right? Even if it's confusing to the judges, the ruling that prevails is what should have been the case at the time when you committed the offense or did not commit the offense.
Which ruling?
The case of citizenship and allegiance.
I'm saying there's no ruling on that.
But the Supreme Court has said they are all virtually the same. What do you mean there's no ruling on that?
Which is wrong.
Why do we have to have a by-election?
I mean, I'm saying the Supreme Court did not rule on 94 2B.
They ruled 94
2A and all these other ones. But there was no ruling on allegiance.
But the Supreme Court said allegiance
because
and citizenship.
If there was a ruling on allegiance, right, then it would be precedent. So Supreme Court wouldn't take the case. They would have said, we've already explained this, so just go by that. The mere fact that the Supreme Court took the case means there's no precedent, or they're about to overturn a precedent. Does that make sense? Supreme Court wouldn't just take a case that they already have a precedent for. If we already made a decision on this, we wouldn't take the case again. Why would
no. That's not true. The Supreme Court can change its own rulings.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
They
saying.
can sit
The
on
only
its
way,
own case and change their thinking then to a
that's
new
what I'm
one.
saying.
They
That the
can do
only
that
way
at
the
any
Supreme
time.
Court would take a case that they've already held on, ruled on, is if they want to overturn the precedents.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
okay,
that's true.
So in this particular case, the Supreme Court taking on the case meant, one, there's no precedent, or whatever precedents they had, they are changing that. Have they changed any precedent in this ruling that you've read?
But at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day,
No,
you see, you are bringing some technicalities in there that it is only the Supreme Court that can cure. Okay, whatever we do here is just going to be argument of whether they could have done this, or they could have cured this, or they could have cured that. Okay, whatever we do here, we are just arguing. Okay, you may have your stand, I may have my stand.
No, I'm just trying to say, you say he committed a crime. So I wanted to kind of point to what crime he committed. Because if the crime he committed is based on a law that is not clear, that Supreme Court has to interpret, how do I break a law that is not clear?
No. What was taken to the court was not perjury. Okay.
Oh, in the charges, the
right now, yes, but before, the ruling that resulted in the by-election, is that not what you're referring to?
Yeah, we call that, they all come from the same nucleus of facts.
Yeah, but
everything that went to court, right? Both the civil and the criminal aspect of criminal cases all came from the same set of facts. It's not different facts. It is the declaration that he made that he has no allegiance to another country that caused the civil case, and that caused the interpretation of 94, whatever, 94 2B. And it was the same declaration that we are taking to the criminal proceedings to say he has perjured himself. So we are asking the question that, how would a person perjure himself if Supreme Court has to interpret the meaning of the law that he's perjuring himself with? Like I lied about something that is not clear. He has to take Supreme Court to actually interpret that. So, I mean, how, if Supreme Court, how possible is that? You can.
They are not the same. They are not the same.
They are the same. They are the same.
Yeah, no, they are not. They are not. They are not. They are not the
Okay,
same.
tell us.
We are taking from the same pool of pipe. But whilst in the pool there is soup, and in the pool there is chicken. So if Fufu was taken to the court and we taking chicken to the court, you cannot say because it's from the same pool of facts, it cannot be. This was a civil. This is criminal.
No, you are not.
And criminal cases are
understanding what you are saying. No, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that, right, the declaration he made, right, based on which we have to go and seek interpretation of the law.
Okay.
Right? Is the same interpretation, is the same declaration we are taking to the criminal. And we are saying that he lied when he said he didn't have any allegiance, and that caused him to become a parliamentarian. And we are saying, and so we are saying that he violated the law.
Okay.
But the law is not clear. The law has to be interpreted by Supreme Court to say, oh, allegiance is equal to citizenship. So at the time he was doing it, he was actually telling he's true to the law.
Okay, so
putting the law the way he understands it.
Okay, so in the
civil,
in the civil case, the one that was interpreted that was at the Supreme Court, was there a Code of Criminal Offense Act 1960 Act 29?
No.
Was that a code?
I'm sure you've done some small legal studies, right?
Yes.
The charges against you is not the main. The charges against you is just to say what, like, the criminal offense need a criminal code to say, oh, what crime can we actually
adduce from this crime?
But we are saying that you cannot break a law that is unclear.
But this no. Okay. No. What you are trying to allude to is not what we are dealing with.
Tell me, read a criminal charge to me. Read a criminal charge in 1960 to me. The 1960 criminal charge, the criminal code you are interested in. Read it.
Oh, so I don't have the exact code, but the exact offense is here.
I'll give it to you. Don't worry. It says, on I think it's the 4th charge. Where he said Mr. Quayson is said to have perjured himself on 6 October at Asin Fosu, making an oath that he did not owe allegiance to any country other than Ghana when he did have reason to believe his statement was true. This action flies in the face of Section 210 of the Criminal Code, and I'm going to read 210 for you, right?
Okay.
Because 210 is only going to say that you cannot make a false statement when you know it to be true.
Yes.
Through declaration. But I'm saying that why is the statement false? The statement is only false because 94 to, I mean, the fact that I'm not a citizen or I have allegiance to another country, it's not criminal. But it's only criminal in the context of if you were running for parliament, right?
Yes.
94 2B says you don't have to have allegiance to any other country when you're doing so.
Yeah.
So we are saying based on that, you have to base the declaration on 94 2B in order to conclude that Section 210(1) of the Criminal Code applies. Because the Section 210 is a vacuum law. There's nothing. It has to be based on something, and what it's based on itself is ambiguous. So you couldn't this.
It is no. It is not ambiguous. Because it is not ambiguous. That is why when the Supreme Court determined that he owed allegiance to another country, he owed another citizenship, that he hadn't renounced it, so they had to quash that election for another one to be held.
Why would the Supreme Court do so? Why is the Supreme Court doing that?
And when he was going for the next one, now he has to say, and all that is what we've been saying. Oh, now I have renounced it. So I don't know why
is the Supreme Court interested in this particular case? Why would Supreme Court? Because Supreme Court doesn't do election petition. So clearly, this is not an election petition. Why is Supreme Court ruling on it?
Why is the Supreme Court not ruling on a case that is a constitutional issue and it's a contention between two parties? One says you have flouted and the another one says you have not.
All I'm trying to get you to understand is the Supreme Court had to go and interpret the law.
Yes.
Right? Because the law is subject to two meanings. Prior to the Supreme Court's ruling, the law was subject to how many meanings? Two meanings. So if he adopted one meaning, it doesn't make him a criminal.
No. You're wrong on that. No. Right. The law doesn't have a meaning for the criminal and a meaning for the other one. No, it has one interpretation and one meaning.
No.
And at the end of the day,
you are misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm saying that Article 94 2B had two meanings. Otherwise, Supreme Court wouldn't even take it on. Does that make sense to you?
No.
The case went to the Supreme Court because they want interpretation. They want the Supreme Court to explain to all of us that what's the meaning of that. Constitutional. Article.
Yeah.
So that's why the case went to the Supreme Court.
No. Listen, you don't go to the Supreme Court and tell them it has two meanings. You go to the Supreme Court and you say
nobody saying it has two meanings.
Hold on, you guys.
Nobody saying it has two meanings.
No. You go to the Supreme
interpretation.
Court. You go to the Supreme Court and say that in your understanding of the law, this is what the law means to you.
Right.
Yeah, to you. And then another person will also say, oh, no. In my understanding, this is what it means.
So if the Supreme Court agrees that yes, the law is likely to mean those two things, then they will come and settle the score. Otherwise, they will say one person they will say the law is clear, we don't have a jurisdiction. Because Quayson challenged the court jurisdiction, and the court went ahead to say they have jurisdiction because this law is likely to mean two different things. That is why they have to clear it up. Otherwise, the court wouldn't have jurisdiction. You with a little bit of your legal studies should know that. The court has declined jurisdiction in certain cases, but if they have the jurisdiction, it's the first thing you do in court, right? You go to court, one of the first things you do is first you question whether there is a controversy, whether there's a case to start with. The controversy, because you just don't go to court to ask for friendly opinion or so you can clarify some things. No, there has to be a case or controversy for the court to actually see. So the
There
first
is a
thing,
delayed transmission. I don't know.
no,
There's
it's
a
my
delayed
pictures. My
transmission.
pictures are kind of, but you can hear me clearly. So let's go on.
Yeah.
So the court will first determine, is there a case? If there is a case, we move on. If there's no case, we throw it away. Second, the court would, if any of the parties would challenge the court's jurisdiction. And here the court's jurisdiction was challenged. Okay. And the reason the court's jurisdiction was challenged is because, one, the Supreme Court does not do election petition for parliamentarian. It only does presidential. The election petition for parliamentarian has been reserved for the high courts. Okay, so the court said, no, this is not an election petition. This is an interpretative jurisdiction they have. They have a jurisdiction to interpret the Constitution. And you only invoke that jurisdiction if there's ambiguity. If there's no ambiguity, then why is the Supreme Court clarifying anything? Okay? And ambiguity means there are two meanings. Person A can apply it in one way, person B can apply it in another way, and the Supreme Court is saying, okay, I recognize that there is an ambiguity. Let me settle the score and tell you guys how you should go by it. So now you come back and say, oh, although there was an ambiguity prior to the Supreme Court's ruling, I'm going to hold you in perjury over your position on the law before the ruling. How on earth?
That is how the law works.
It doesn't work like that. It does not work like that.
That's how the law works.
Where does it work like that?
Everywhere.
No, it doesn't.
Where on earth do you see under the legal law the ambiguities of it? Where?
Every constitutional interpretation, right? Every constitutional.
Of course. So once the interpretation comes, it settles the matter.
No, we are saying.
So why interpretation has come and you still think that the ambiguity still holds?
No, nobody said ambiguity holds. We are saying
go to the Supreme Court.
We are saying the charges being brought for the perjury was the acts committed before the interpretation, not after the interpretation. The acts committed before the interpretation, which means during
the interpretation. Okay. So it doesn't matter. You still have committed an offense. You gotta get it. I'm telling you, that is what it is. You can hold your opinion that because there was an ambiguity and that no offense, it doesn't happen anywhere.
Okay.
It doesn't.
So let me give you a layman example. There is a red phone. Oh, there's a phone. Okay, the phone is red as I'm showing it to you, but you are colorblind. Okay, you're colorblind. So you said this phone is.
You have to bring a precedent and not a scenario, because in scenarios we need a judge and everybody are going to. So bring a precedent that
the precedents are washed. The court is awash with precedents in terms of legal interpretations. If the legal interpretation is unclear at the time the person commit the act,
that is why the court is there.
I don't think you ever gonna understand this.
Okay, let me. Okay,
that's why I'm trying to break it down to you in simple terms.
The way you want me to understand, maybe I am not getting the understanding.
So let me give you an example. I said I give you a phone.
No,
I give you a phone.
I want like a precedent. Well, in the case of this and that, it was ruled that, and then later on, the offense he has committed was forgiven. That is what you are trying to.
What is the color of the shirt you have on right now?
Orange.
Oh, I think it's yellow.
Okay.
So we have a case and controversy, right?
Yeah.
At the time, as at right now, I believe strongly that outfit is yellow. You said it's red. Okay, so we went to the court. The court said, the way this outfit look, it is likely to be interpreted as either yellow or red, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to set it straight. I'm going to bring experts with clear glasses to look at it and tell us what is that color that shirt is. So they concluded that, oh, by the way, it's actually red.
Okay.
Now you are turning around saying, I lied when I said it was yellow.
Because the actual color has been given.
Well, but there's no way for me to know. At that point, even the Supreme Court admits that
it's not true, though.
No, the Supreme Court admits
it is not true that Quayson did not know that he owed allegiance to another country or had another citizenship. Why did he renounce then?
first of all, let me finish this analysis, then we go to the question part. So at the time, the Supreme Court itself acknowledged that it is likely that that shirt can be interpreted as either yellow or red. So we are taking it up so we can clear that up. But you can't come back and say, before the Supreme Court clear it up, I was lying when I said it was yellow. No, I wasn't. I was just confused as you are.
Okay,
so we are saying that there's no perjury. You cannot be perjured. You cannot commit perjury on an ambiguous provision.
Very good. So we don't need to argue here. So we go to the court and say that no, there is no perjury, because at the time of this and this and this is what exists. But for me, with my little legal knowledge, once a pronouncement is made, then going forward, that is what it is. Now, one of the arguments they brought was that, right?
Yeah.
You have to be elected and sworn in, right? You have to be elected, and in fact, you have to be an MP before you can be asked whether you owe allegiance or not, and not before.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay, but you see, to be an MP includes when you see the qualification starts from
no.
From application.
That 2A talks about qualifications before you contest, because 2B, the allegiance thing we are talking about, it doesn't end once you become an MP. The allegiance thing continues. Anything 2B, 2C, 2D continues. These are provisions. If you commit a crime while you are MP, you'll be taken off. Okay, so 2A is the pre-election qualifications. You have to be a citizen of Ghana, etc. Now, 2B,
not owing allegiance to any.
That's the allegiance is 2B. The allegiance they are talking about doesn't get administered until you actually even win the election. And we are saying that the allegiance provision, which is in the 94 2B, right?
but it says
citizenship. Okay. So how can that become a citizenship matter?
But we cannot also operate under ambiguous positions. So the aspect that says citizenship, right? It said no other country other than Ghana, right?
Yes.
And Quayson had 2 citizenships, right?
But we are saying the citizenship is not what that act is talking about, because that article was passed in 1992 when we did not have dual citizenship. So you cannot say allegiance is equal to citizenship when there's no dual citizenship in Ghana at all at the time we had that provision included in our constitution. Which that provision was in 1960s constitution. It was in the constitution in the 70s. It has been in every single constitution we've had when we never had dual citizenship at all. It's not a new thing. 94B, 2B has been with us all this time when we didn't even have dual citizenship. So how can you now come and say that at the time they constructed that, when they didn't have dual citizenship, they were actually talking about citizenship? Ghana didn't have dual citizenship until 1996.
But it says
allegiance.
Citizen of Ghana other than other countries.
It didn't say citizen. It said allegiance to no other country. Let me read it to you.
You see the qualifications.
Yeah, the qualification. He met the qualification. He's already a citizen of Ghana.
Yeah, and other countries, something other country, it's there.
That is the
only in Ghana.
Okay, let me read this thing to you. I think you are very, you are, I don't know. Today is not your birthday, but I'm gonna read it to you. Right, 94. Yeah, okay, so 94 2A, 94 2A, right? Is a person shall not be qualified to be a member of parliament if he, A, owes allegiance to a country other than Ghana.
The qualification.
Allegiance.
The qualification.
Yes. Is it a person shall not be qualified to be a member of parliament if he owes allegiance to a country other than Ghana, or has been adjudged otherwise declared as bankrupt, etc. Now, before then, if you go to C, matter of fact, 94 One.
And did Quayson owe allegiance to another country other than Ghana at the time of the?
No, he doesn't. He does not.
He did not. To qualify.
He does not.
To qualify, he did not.
No.
So what did he denounce?
Citizenship, which is in 94.
So in Canada.
Oh, hold on. Let me read the constitution.
Hold on. His citizenship, he did not swear allegiance in Canada. You don't swear
the allegiance you swear in Ghana when you become a parliamentarian, which is captured in Article.
No. Before Quayson became a citizen, he did not swear allegiance to Canada.
Okay, when he's renouncing it, does he swear an allegiance?
Okay. You see, you are not asking my question. You are using a question to answer my question.
Well,
did he swear allegiance to become a citizen of Canada?
Okay, let's go to Canada. Canada, there is actually citizens of Canada who don't swear allegiance.
No. You see, you are generalizing. We are talking about Quayson. Why are we generalizing?
Well,
did Quayson swear an allegiance to become a Canadian citizen?
You are asking a question of fact, right? It's a question of fact.
Yes. Did he?
I don't have the docket. I don't have that specific fact.
Then you cannot say. You cannot sit here and say he didn't have allegiance. You don't have the fact, and you say he didn't have.
Okay, but if I let me tell you also that you can be a citizen of Canada without swearing.
I understand.
You know
that. You see, that is conjecture.
Do you also know that maybe he has not sworn?
We know, but we want.
Mr. Amuzo,
if we sit here and conjecture,
there is nothing. There is nothing you are going to say this afternoon.
If we don't have the fact, you cannot sit here and say he didn't have allegiance to Canada. You cannot sit here and say when the Constitution is clearly read, he cannot have.
But you also cannot conclude that he does, because you can be a citizen of Canada without swearing an
allegiance. I am not concluding it is there. It is the Supreme Court. Why did he not prove that he didn't have allegiance?
The Supreme Court is saying that allegiance is equal to citizenship, which we say is wrong.
It's wrong.
It's wrong.
It's wrong.
It's not citizen.
Okay. You can after the judgment you can say, but I'm asking, did Quayson swear an allegiance? You say you don't know. Then why are we arguing?
But
you don't know, I don't know, and we are arguing.
It's a non-fact question. That question is irrelevant.
Yours is irrelevant too.
And I'll tell you why it's irrelevant.
We are conjecturing.
Let me tell you why it's irrelevant.
Because that is where the whole point we are discussing. Because that is what you just read.
Let me tell you why the question is irrelevant, right? Okay. During the renunciation process, do you do a counter allegiance provision process?
We are not talking about renunciation.
Oh, okay. You are saying that he may have sworn an allegiance.
Who renounces when he renounces? Who does that? You just issue the certificate and you go.
Okay, you don't do renunciation, right? You don't do allegiance, counter allegiance, right?
But we are not talking about renunciation here. We are talking about when he took up as a citizen. Did he take up? Did he swear allegiance?
Okay, on that thought, if he swear an allegiance when he was taking citizenship, right, in Canada, when does that end? When does that allegiance end?
When he renounces.
When he renounces what? Citizenship or the allegiance itself?
No, you don't renounce allegiance. You renounce citizenship, and that automatically.
Let's progress with the question. You've answered this fine. I got it. So, in renouncing his citizenship, right?
Yeah.
Is there a place in that process where he has to do a counter allegiance?
But do we know if he swore an allegiance?
Okay.
Let's move on. Let me get you.
I asked you what you say, but you see, no. In all this thing, we have to get a form.
Let's move on because Brother Ifa will never understand you. Brother Ifa will never understand you.
We have to get the application form to come to this understanding and to take it out from there.
No, I mean the point is that our constitution never contemplated the citizenship to be construed in 2A or 2B. None of that stuff. The constitution is clear. It says,
I understand that. That is your argument. But unfortunately, we don't have the final say when it comes to its interpretation.
Yeah, so that's why,
so these things we can argue
I'm free to tell the Supreme Court where in the air, okay, in this particular case.
Yeah, but
that even more essentially, right?
Stands. You can say they've erred, but it stands.
But more essentially,
until it is reviewed, that is what stands.
Okay, more essentially is that they took this because they felt that that part of the Constitution is not clear, even though it didn't say.
But I think we've dealt with this last week. Let's deal with the Attorney General and this.
Yeah, we are going back to the Attorney General, even though it says that part of the Constitution didn't mention citizen. We want to make it allegiance. We want to make allegiance equal to citizenship. And that is their interpretation of that part of the Constitution. Nobody in Ghana knew that until the Supreme Court made this pronouncement. So anybody who may have had the wrong notion before could not be committing perjury. That's what we're saying.
No, that's not true.
Interpretation before
that is your argument, and you can say that when the case come up, but you cannot say no.
I can say it.
No. You
Mr.
see,
Paul.
let's go to let me
Mr.
give
Paul,
you a case in point. Let me give you a case in point. Chachu, when Chachu was charged, right? When Chachu was charged on causing financial loss to the state, right? So the time the law was passed, it did not have retrospective effect. So he went to court and he said, yes, the crime was committed, but you cannot charge me under this law. You right? And the court agreed.
I don't think Chachu ever said the crime was committed.
That's no.
Those are your words.
That was it. Yes, the crime was committed. But why was he jailed subsequently? Because they had to go there
even if we say fine, I have committed a crime, not to admit that crime was committed, even if we say I have done the things you claim I have done, you still don't have the law to charge me.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It happened before, right?
So we have a precedent in Chachu's case.
No,
they remember the first.
No. But the Chachu's case has been thrown out, and what do we call it?
It has been.
Okay, listen. Okay, you guys.
Because the Supreme Court is wrong.
Listen. Okay. No. That is not what happened. Hold on.
That expunged from all the rulings.
The Attorney General, who is now the then Attorney General, let me explain it. The then Attorney General went to court. Akufo-Addo went to court. Chachu went to court and said, no, you cannot charge me under this law. So it was passed. They went back.
The Supreme Court disagrees. And okay, go ahead.
The Supreme Court disagreed and threw away the case, right?
No, they imprisoned Chachu.
Oh, you are not. You see, you are not listening. They had to go the first time. They throw the case away. They then had to go and look for another thing to come and charge Chachu and put Chachu in. And
he's talking about Nana Akufo-Addo when he said Chachu versus Attorney General, and the case was thrown out.
What I'm telling you is that.
So there's a precedent. Go to court and say that. Okay, so it was ambiguous, so you can't charge me there. But I disagree with that. But you can go to court and make that argument, and then we take it out from there. Because in that case, we're going to have a precedent so that when there's an ambiguity, then we know that all the crimes that were committed under the ambiguity do not apply. But I disagree with that notion, though.
You have a brain of your own, and I'm asking you, based on these things that we've just told you, that they have to do an interpretation. I think you should use your 1 + 1 to determine whether or not a person should actually be held accountable for something that was ambiguous. I know we have to go to court and all that.
Right? But even under what you are saying, when they did the interpretation, they asked that, you see, the person was punished for what he did, that they quashed his name, and then another election was held against him. And you are here talking about he didn't know and he didn't know and so on.
No, I'm saying that's the right thing to do, right? Because if it's ambiguous and you didn't understand what the law
No, that's not what it means. No. If people go to court and they are arguing, it is a purposes of defense. What do you tell me at all times? It is because they know it's ambiguous and what. People will just know when you go to court, you have to find something to defend your people, your distance. So you come up with whatever defense that works. It doesn't mean it holds water.
Okay.
No.
I'm talking specifically about.
There is always the plaintiff and the distant or the state and the criminal at all times.
Okay. This particular case is not plaintiff and defendant because it's a civil proceedings, right?
Okay.
Civil proceedings, so we don't call those plaintiff. But again, the essential point here is that during the interpretation, right, the right thing to do is if there's an ambiguity, you annul the whatever result came out of that ambiguity. The ambiguity caused this man to be allowed to run and won an election. So it is right for the Supreme Court to say, squash that election itself, because the election was based on an ambiguous provision. Now we've cleared the provision. Go, you can run the election again if you want to. But now you are saying that whatever the Supreme Court quashed and said throw it away, you want to go and charge the person criminally based on that. And we are saying it makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense. The Supreme Court is saying this provision is ambiguous. I'm going to set it right. But otherwise, the Supreme Court would have said this guy. Anyway, let's move on.
Exactly. What you are coming to say right now that you don't want to say, that is where my point is.
Oh, I'm saying otherwise the Supreme Court would have said somebody has faltered the law, and although it's a civil, hold on, my brother. Look, it's not election petitions for the Supreme Court to actually say, oh, we are going to rerun the election or this. So the Supreme Court wasn't doing election petition. The Supreme Court was interpreting the law, and the Supreme Court was saying, if this is the outcome of the law, because it was used ambiguously, then the result should be thrown away. That's what the Supreme Court said.
Yes. And
Okay.
that has always been the case when there's an interpretation. The result.
Okay, so two people were confused. They went to Supreme Court to get clarification, but
Yeah,
even though we were both confused, the other one was lying. So I'm going to criminally charge him for lying.
Yes.
I mean, come on, guys. You have power, so you want to be abusive of the power. It's fine.
No, it's a precedent. It's a precedent that will apply to everybody.
We are all not thinkers. Everybody has the gumption in their head. They can think. We all have mienu, right? Isn't that a thing? So we can all think and understand the law. We can't just sit
once
here
an interpretation is given, nobody want to lose, and you can always hold your stand on whatever the Supreme Court says. But if you are in the legal distance, you have to learn that whatever the Supreme Court, whatever the court has said, when people lose cases, they don't want to hear I've lost, or when they have a stand that this should have been the case, they don't want. But unfortunately, it is the judge that has that final say, and they've said it. And if we are lucky, they can revise it over time. But for now, this is what stands.
Okay. Domahini has spoken. He said a couple of things. Let me see if I can quote some of the things he said. All right. So the Domahini says, of course, we know the Domahini himself, he holds dual roles as a traditional leader and a high court judge at the same time.
Mr. Amozo, I'm going to drop and join on my phone. I need to step up. I'm going to join my phone.
Okay, this question was coming to you before, but...
Okay, let me finish.
Okay.
I'll join on my phone. Yeah.
So the Domahini appealed to the president and to the attorney general to halt the trial. He urges them to cease the proceeding against Quayson. And of course, that statement was made during the John Evans Atta Mills
Memorial
lecture in Sunyani. According to him, if he was even
on the Supreme Court, he would have voted in the other angle, not
with regard to the civil proceedings.
Exactly.
But with the criminal one, he didn't want to go into details. He said
exactly.
He's pleading that there should be a nulli prosecutor.
Yeah.
Okay. So Paul, Odami came in and says, he's violating the judicial code of conduct because him being a judge, he shouldn't be making commentary that is likely to undermine proceedings in courts. Do you agree?
You see, that's the hypocrisy of the MPP once again. When Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo was standing on a platform in Asimov, telling the people of Asimov that this man is already somebody bound to be in jail, he's going to go to jail, so don't fall for somebody who will be in jail. That one, the Attorney General did not see anything wrong with it. Mm-hmm. But a prominent chief as such, who also, double as a high court judge, is saying and appealing that you as Attorney General, you have the prosecuting power to prosecute. You can prosecute and you can file nulli prosequa. He's appealing to you through the office of the president that file nulli prosequa, you are raising issues about it. This is very unfortunate. This is how hypocrite the MPP is. They talk at one side of their mouth and the other side of that they change their mouth. That's what the case is.
Okay. So we'll get you on your phone when you join. Efa,
yeah,
I'm sure you agree with the Attorney General that such comments are insensitive and undermines the proceedings.
Yes.
Why?
Yes. First of all, we are in a democracy. We are a country. we deal with crimes and stuff like that. Now, when you are charged and you are taken to court, that is not the end of the matter. The Attorney General doesn't have the final say to put you in jail or to imprison you or whatever the case may be. He's just telling the court that in his opinion, in his legal estimation, you have committed this, you have done this, and you have done that. So how can this be taken as a... I'm not understanding where the Domahine is coming from and other calls to the effect that this should be quiet. You see, that call is elitist. That certain class of people in the society, because of what they will, that they shouldn't be punished, and that crime has a limitation, or crime has some kind of personality block or whatever we want to call it. But I don't think that is right. If you say you committed this crime, it is even an indictment on your certificate for Attorney General or for somebody to say you have done this, you've done it. Go to court, clear yourself and all that. But for me sitting here, I think that the NDC has sat down, the legal team has gone through the whole papers. They know it's a difficult case. He's likely to, fall, and that, they should find a way to make it political. I see it as more of a political issue.
So that's propaganda, right? Because you don't know what the NDC is doing.
Exactly. So
well, but you don't know what the NDC is doing.
We shouldn't encourage that. That's
I'm happy you told him that's propaganda. He's saying propaganda right there.
Clearly,
no, the NDC is not playing propaganda.
Yes.
No, go to court and defend yourself.
Who will do that?
But they ain't court, right? If I don't they in court.
Okay, but why are they using the Domahine to speak to us?
How do you know how is anybody using
the Domahine is an NDC man. He always talks against the government, right?
You see, this is the thing that we do, which is not helping our democracy.
So anybody who speaks against the government is
the Domahine. We say the Domahine is an NDC.
Okay, let me ask you, is the Achimhine also an NPP man?
Is who?
The Achimhine or Sajifo? What's his name? The Achimhine.
What has he said?
Is he an NPP man?
Has he said something?
Oh, my brother, just answer the question.
I don't know his political affiliation.
Really?
You wouldn't know, right? Okay, yeah. Perfect.
But if you know, you can tell me. But Domahine, I know for sure.
What exactly did the Domahine say that undermines the proceeding in court? What exactly, of all the things he said, which specific ones makes you feel like he's undermining the proceedings?
If you say the case should be abrogated, then you are telling that virtually the person has not committed any crime.
No, that's not what it means.
Okay, so if that is not what it means and he has committed crime, why are you saying the case should cease?
Did Aisha Wana commit a crime?
You see, listen. So say prosecute Aisha Wan too. Don't say if you think that Aisha Wan. No,
it's a simple question. You are saying that the fact that you are asking, hold on. You say the fact that you are asking for nolly prosecuted means that the person has not committed a crime or whatever. And I'm saying that okay, we knew clearly that Aisha Wan committed a crime, but we gave a nolly prosecutor. So nolly prosecutor doesn't mean the person.
So the nolly prosecutor that whichever nolly prosecutor has been given, right? The Attorney General, you see this, and we have to respect these things. The Attorney General is the chief legal advisor to the government. He looks at all the facts of the case and he will advise the government that this is the direction we're going to take. I don't think that in the Aisha Wan case, we told the Attorney General release Aisha Wan or file nolly prosecutor on it. He sat down and he said that under the circumstances, this is what he's going to do, and he did that.
Okay, let me ask: on whose behalf does the Attorney General have it exercise these powers?
On behalf of the people of Ghana.
So the people don't have any right to appeal to him. Is that what you're saying?
2-3 people talk, and that should be the whole of Ghana. How many people have spoken, and you call it the whole of Ghana?
The whole Asin that has spoken.
Asin population constitutes how many? The whole of Ghana.
The MP is representing Asin, so we are talking about representation of Asin here, and the electoral commission, the AG is exercising that power to protect the sanctity of the seen electoral representation or parliamentary representation. So this is more of exercising the power of prosecution on behalf of the people of Asin than just the people of the rest of the people of Ghana, because we don't have a stake in that. Do you understand?
Okay. So you mean that so now
So 57% of Asim has spoken.
Okay, so you are what you are telling me is that, so say somebody from the Volta region, we start prosecuting just as you guys are doing. So in the case of Ato Forsen, he's the MP for his constituency. So his constituency will come to the government and say, we elected him, he has committed crime, but file a nolle prosecutor to let him go. And then we go another. What?
Oh, because the crime specifically he's been prosecuted for is in the nature of him trying to acquire their representation fraudulently.
Okay, so anything fraudulent should not be punished. Unfortunately, the Attorney General don't think so. If he thinks that should not be the case, I think he will advise the government and we'll take it out from there.
But the people said no, he didn't acquire it fraudulently. We actually like him. We want him to represent us.
No, crime is not determined. No, crime is not determined by individuals or constituency or stuff like that. Unfortunately, it is the Attorney General that determines what constitutes a crime and
on behalf of the people.
Yeah, but not on behalf of constituents, on behalf of the people of Ghana. Not on behalf of the constituency.
So which people of Ghana are telling the Attorney General to actually do this?
That is exactly what I'm saying. So the whole Ghana is 30, how many million people?
Mm-hmm.
The crime is against the people of Ghana and not against the people of Assam.
Okay, so let's assume for the sake of argument that he's doing this on behalf of all the people of Ghana, right? So yeah. I'm saying that if the people of Ghana, a portion of the people of Ghana are saying, guy, don't do this. You're not doing this on our behalf. The rest of the people didn't really say anything because I haven't seen anybody actually calling on the Attorney General to say prosecute.
Exactly.
That. So there's public sentiment. There's public sentiment against the prosecution.
No,
right?
There is no public sentiment. There is sectional sentiment against the people, against the prosecution, and that sentiment is political in nature. Now we cannot run a country like that. Okay, we have been there before. Where political parties will hide behind certain people and go and throw things out there to disorient their distance. And it is not easy when it comes to some of these issues. It is not just the Attorney General. We've seen various institutions bastardized and people taken on because some people or some sections feel that things are not going the way we want it to go, which is inimical and which is even dangerous to the whole establishment of the country. What are we talking about here? That people come into the country, acquire things fraudulently, either they are citizens or non-citizens or whatever, and then what are we saying?
Okay, if an MP has been accused of committing a crime while he was in Australia, and the statute of limitation, which requires that should crime be committed by a person who's willing to run for parliament, there has to be 10 years between the time the crime was committed or the time he was prosecuted to the time he's running for office. Do you think we should we should prosecute him and perhaps run a by-election in his constituency?
Oh, who? In the case of the certificate of UCC certificate, something like that?
Oh, there's a UCC certificate one. There's also another one where this guy was has committed forgery. Yes.
Yeah. So hold on, Paul.
Let this guy come in. Paul, come in quickly. I think it's Paul. What were you gonna say?
You see, with my brother, if I trying to, play mystic over here, saying that the Doma is an NDC man. He's not speaking for Ghanaians and all those stuff. Look, if we want to do mischief or play politics, that is what we do. I wanted to ask my brother Ifa, when the president, the number one gentleman of the land, went and stood on a platform and sentenced Judge Quayson to say that Judge Quayson would definitely go to prison, didn't the Attorney General see to raise the issue about it? What is your first view about the irresponsible statement that the president made on the platform?
Yeah, if I was your response to that.
Is that what
The president went to the political campaign and say, Judge Quayson is going to jail. Why should you vote for him?
So unfortunately, such comments are not expected of high-profile people like the president, but because they have immunity, they get away with some of these things. Yes, he made it, and I don't think that has any consequences on the outcome of the case. So that shouldn't be.
If I thank you very much for being honest. You are the first NPP person who has said that you don't think it's right for him to make such a statement. But as it may be, based upon that statement, based upon, prejudging the case, that is why the domain is saying that, look, looking at the situation and looking at the things, the way things have gone, I am appealing to you, the president, that you have that power to have the Attorney General to file null prosequi, to end the case for the best interest of everybody. And if the domain is saying this based upon prejudicial statement, even not from the president alone, also from the Attorney General. He has also passed statement saying that, it's a candidate, he has to go to jail. Whatever has happened to Abu Sakande, the same thing will happen to him. It means he has already predetermined the case. And for us not to have any, foul mind, even if it ends as that the court will find him guilty, that is what I said. Just end the case. Let's bring peace.
So the Attorney General,
the
Attorney General's comment is still a buttress of what he has sent to court. You see, technically, making a comment will not affect the outcome of the case, in my view. But it is not healthy because the court doesn't like that. So we don't expect. But if the Attorney General is the one saying you need to be in jail to the court, so what is prejudicial about that anyway?
The Attorney General is going to court, already has, taken a side that, hey, you are going to be in jail just like Abu Sakande. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And you think it's convinced.
But at the end of the day, it doesn't lie in his hands to put him in jail. That's why he's going to the court.
And his president, the number one gentleman who went and stood on the same platform, another political platform, also making the same statement as the Attorney General. And you think that is right? And you think we should not, the domain calling for, as an elder of the country, as a king, who has a lot of subject and asking that the case.
NDC people have stood on various platforms and have called certain people criminals and say when they come to power, they are already going to jail.
But there's not a case in courts on any of those matters.
Yes.
You can share your opinion on what you're going to do, but when a case is in court, you don't pass prejudicial comments.
I accept it. But that does not affect the outcome of the case.
The member of the bar.
That does not affect the outcome of the case.
So you think
that making a comment on the case means the case should be cancelled and that the criminal is no longer a criminal. You punish them. There is a way. So this is what they call a contempt of court or whatever, and then other people are called or they are warned or they are issued whatever. We saw in the case of the trial of the presidential, I think 2013, when people were making various. It didn't cancel the case. They were called and they were punished as such. So there are laws governing these things. It doesn't mean go and tell them that we think somebody has committed a crime, but because somebody has made a comment, cancel the case. You see, you guys are already feeling guilty.
Nobody's saying cancel the case because of that. First of all, if you ask me, I don't think there is a case to be made because
exactly. So you see, that is even easy for you. It's easy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't think there's a case to be made.
Yeah. Secondly,
citizens can appeal to their representative, who is not elected. He's an appointee. He wields a lot of power. Citizens can appeal to him to exercise that power judiciously. They can ask him to exercise the power in their favor. Is the citizens that he represents. All right. So when the Domahini says, Attorney General, I'm pleading with you, the President, I'm pleading with you. If you have any role to play, please enter nolli prosecute. Let's proceed. That has no code violation.
Where is the petition? Which citizen? How many people? How many people petitioned the Domahini?
One who is.
There is nothing. There is nothing. There is no appeal.
Anyway, okay.
It is political. We are not going to take it. The prosecution is going to go on, go to court, and answer. I mean, Betty Moore told MPP, hey, don't say, you said we should go, I've taken you to court, go and answer. So these are how the politicians behave. MPP has behaved like that before. You know? So it is not something new, okay? And I like the way the argument is coming that there is no case and this will be thrown away. Yes, go to court, argue your case, it is thrown away, we learn from it, and then it becomes a precedent for all of us to follow. I like it when it goes to court. If you think the court,
my brother, the matter is already in court. So
if you think the judicial system is not good, you'll be there. When you
your whole argument can be that we should go to court, especially when the matter is already in court. We don't have a choice. Is there a choice for it not to be in
court? You are exercising a choice which is very inimical to democratic processes.
That can be your only argument,
and legal dispensation.
Brother, if I just
calling for something that is very dangerous.
We are saying as a matter of law, there's no case. Anyway,
so that is better. That is better than saying, "Oh, he's a criminal," but we want you to stop it.
I mean, the nolli prosecutor is entered every time, whether the person committed a crime or not.
Based on the advice based on all the facts available to the Attorney General. It doesn't come from citizens. It comes from the Attorney General's office, based on advice, experts,
including persuasions and pleadings from people, right?
From where?
For instance, in Ashawan case, it was in the interest of the national security to
no, give us don't give us
in Ashawan's case. In Ashawan's case, Osafo Manfo said there's not going to be any financial benefit if we jail her.
Yeah. Anyway, in guys,
in the case of the case of the vigilante who went and raided a court, the Attorney General, then the lady, said she's filing nolli falsified because she cannot identify the people. That's what she said.
Okay, guys.
But the question is identified, right? And the question, it will not cause any financial.
That is total mischief, my brother.
It is not. Because you see, all the guards are already there as an MP, so just go and answer, and then we take it up. It's not rocket science. It's just that simple.
All right, guys.
And the Attorney General don't have a case, so NDC and the legal team go and throw it away. So we learn from that. Okay,
it's been spirited discussion, and you guys don't disappoint. Each time I bring you, I am. Either screaming on top of my voice, trying to challenge.
Somebody is insulting me.
No, I mean you guys are really.
Come on, man.
Of course, you know.
Oh, Quayson Jackson, what have I done?
I
come on and share your opinion, Quayson.
Is that Quayson or Abdul?
No, Quayson Jackson. He say a very foolish, dishonest.
No. I blocked him. Don't worry about that.
Come on.
What did he say? Oh, we are not supposed to insult. We are here to share our views.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, so let's do last words and kind of put it on to rest. I've enjoyed the conversations, and I know Jachi Quayson would be a free man.
That's what we're waiting for.
Yeah, so that we can continue to jaw and disagree and agree and move this democracy forward the way it's supposed to. Let's start from Paul D'Souza. Paul, give us your last word as we bring the program to an end.
So, for me to bring the program to an end, I will also support the statement made by the Domahini and then Atukwe, a former Attorney General of under the Kufuor administration.
He has denied.
He has not denied it. He has not. He has denied it.
Yeah, he said
he hasn't.
He hasn't.
Where is it published?
I'll show it to you.
Okay, send a publication to me.
Sure.
Apart from these two people, other people are also calling. Franklin Kujo of Imani have called. Other, members well known in society have asked that, this case should be finally prosecuted and then stop proceeding the case. I personally agree and share that view because the amount of money I'm saying, and I can ask if Odame, Godfrey Odame goes to court with military people protecting him. These people are all on state, resources. The amount of money, the amount of gas he's going to put into that VA that will go to court, that they will not turn the engine off, the engine will be running until finish. All those things are state resources. It's needless. It is the waste of money. If Godfrey Odame has any, legal mind to persecute Justice Quayson, he should use that legal mind to help Akufo-Addo to be able to identify the PDS deal. Those are involved, the corporate, those people who have taken $2.5 million of our money that we don't know where it is. If Godfrey Odame have any legal being to persecute people, he should go and do a PPA. The gentleman who was to be the chief executive of PPA signed 12 contracts for himself. Those are the cases you should go after. The Ameri deal, which when they were in opposition, I remember I was on a studio, one of the shows with Brother Ifa on at Worcester. He was yelling, and we have inflated the deal, and blah blah blah, and they can reduce it. $500 million when they came, they shoot it up to $1.2 billion. If those be the vigilant of the NDC MPC minority in parliament, they would have taken that money free vote too. So I am saying there's a lot of criminal case. Seat for cash. You remember cash for shit. Cash for shit. Cash for seat.
The one involving Alan Chamontaine and
Exactly.
the
All
president.
those cases are there that he has to prosecute, not a case that the Supreme Court erred, which we all know the Supreme Court erred in making their judgment.
Okay.
It's elected by his people. For me, let's move on. It's needless. Let's stop wasting the resources. The little one that we have, let's spend it for people who are lying with their stomach on the floor, learning. And also, let's spend it, if anything, on the man who said he's going to provide laptop for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Efa.
Yeah, thank you very much. Paul, do you know that Dr. Akufo-Addo offered to pay the money that he is alleged to have looted?
It's not Dr. Akufo-Addo. It is not Dr.
And the
Akufo-Addo.
Attorney
Don't
General
put that into
rejected.
our eyes. It's not Dr.
The
Akufo-Addo.
Attorney General rejected that. You see, there are a lot of criminals who need to be punished. Okay, and you see, politics aside, I think that these things, let us learn, and because there's too much, there's too much corruption and there's too much looting in the country. So when evidence are available for criminals to be prosecuted, why do you think that we should stop prosecuting Akufo-Addo? We should stop prosecuting that equation. You can add on to the list if you have it, no problem. If the Attorney General is not picking it up, the OSP is there, send it to there, the Shraj and all that, and then so that we take it up from there. Other than that, I am against. I've shared the link with you where the man said he's been misquoted. The MPP man. So people can call that we you see, this is a democratic system. We can share opinion, but to instruct them to push pressure on this thing, no, that's not going to wash. And we must all embrace crimes. MPP people in current government there are a lot of people that have been lined up by the special prosecutor. Go ahead, push them. If you think there are more, add on to that. So we look.
Talk about they should add the PDS deal to it, right? Ameri deal, which the president was involved. They should add also it.
Can you send that? Can you send that to the OSC if the Attorney General is
the Galamsey,
so
Professor Frimpong,
most of these things are mere political propaganda.
The Professor Frimpong,
and then you run with it. It is fine. We're going to take it up from there because we are sure of breaking it. So we are going to do that. So as MP prepares to break the 8, we need peace. We need to put in measures. We need to put in the measures, that will help us resuscitate the economy and to be able to put in place thing that the Ghanaians are expecting of us, so we can break the 8 next
You are
2024.
breaking
We
the
are
eight
going
with
to win, and
Bawumia
it's going to
or
look you
Alan?
like
Or who are you breaking the eight with?
It's been a wonderful discussion, and Amuzu, I want Abdul Rahman Mohammed to come in, and I think he has great points for us. He's one of the active members on social media, so that we can enrich our discussion here, because I don't claim to know it all. I will admit I don't claim it, either in my field of study, in my field of practice, or whatever. I don't claim to know it all. Sometimes you get it up. Even doctors during surgery, sometimes they do make mistakes. You learn, and then you come back and you bounce. But at the end of the day, this is my opinion, this is my belief, this is what I think is the way forward. Let allow prosecution to go on, and let us come here, share our opinion and our views, so we can enrich and make this platform one of the best in the world. Amos, God bless you and grant you the strength to always come here and help us. We
Thank
thank
you
you.
so much. I
If we
also,
said something that was bad, forgive us, and we didn't mean to do that. Thank you very much, Amuzo.
if you say something bad, I'll send you a carton of Heineken. Anyway,
And also add it to that you will never put Amuzu in your pocket again. Please add that one.
my head is too big to fit in his pocket anyway. Abdul's comments, of course, I don't associate with myself. I think he's saying something about a fast ideology. I mean, all these three of us talking here, we're actually best friends behind the scenes. So, guys, this is just, supporting the political positions of our parties and getting the conversations. We rather have these conversations than fight. That's the beauty of democracy in Ghana. We do it in a way that still assures us our friendship behind the scenes, so that although I disagree strongly with Afa, I would not call him names. I would not fight him. So I think viewers should also take notes of that and know that sometimes it's just politicking. It's nothing personal. Anyway, guys, I really enjoyed the conversation today, and we would be back next week. If you are watching, my name is Alfred Amuzu. You've just heard from Efa Ameo and Paul Disosu. Please share the link so that others who may be interested can also join us. If it is Saturday, you know what time it is. It's the Ghana Agenda time. And today we've broken down some of the things we've been hearing over the years about the prosecution of the current member of parliament for Assin North in James Jachi Quayson. We'll be back next week for more. Please stay tuned. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We are out. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.